I'm sitting here taking a little break from the madness of the floor at Comic-Con with John Ridley, world-renowned screenwriter and now comic man. You kind of did a reverse transition. All these comic guys are going Hollywood and you kind of went Hollywood and went, I'm going to do a comic.
Yeah, I grew up reading comics. I always loved them. And the weird thing is as much writing as I've done in movies and television, it's really hard getting in the comic book business. So even after I'd done a bunch of stuff, there's a lot of people, they don't care. They really don't care. You know, I mean, if you're a superstar, you know, guys like Joss Whedon or somebody, yeah, they bring a built-in audience with you. But most people don't know writers in Hollywood. So just because you're a writer in Hollywood and you want to show up and do comic books, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. So it's been a hard transition, but it's been a great one.
Was it difficult to come up with completely original superheroes?
It wasn't that hard, but the thing that makes it hard is it's hard to get an audience excited about a guy who's been around for a week when you have characters who've been around, you know, Superman and Batman for 50 years, you know, Spider-Man for 30-some years. So it makes it difficult to get that audience. So the idea has to be really, really good and really interesting to get the people who are going to put the money behind it excited about it. So big guys like DC and Marvel, they're not that excited about it, but interesting imprints like Wildstorm and Dark Horse, they're more interested in idea-generated comics than merely the superhero, the icon, him or herself.
What's your basis? Are you an all-ages oriented comic? Is it adult?
The first two that I did an Authority, which was not an original, but you know, it was based on the Authority series that Wildstorm does. Very much an adult comic book. Then I did a Warblade with Simon Beasley, the artist. I don't know if you know Simon Beasley, but whatever you do with Simon, if you have two people are having sex and you just think of them in bed kissing, you know, Simon just sends back panel after panel of anal sex. So it just becomes adult-oriented when you work with Simon. With The American Way, it was meant to be an all-ages kind of thing. I wanted it, you know, I have two kids now, and I wanted something that they could read and that they could get excited about. But at the same time, you know, I'm 40 now, and I wanted something that adults could read and relate to, and had things about race and politics and gender that when you read it, you know, it's just, okay, I'm bored. I wanted something that would bring in as big an audience as possible, but wouldn't pander to kids or bore adults.
Sounds good.
It's good, it's interesting, it's doing really, really well, which it you know, you feel sort of vindicated in the choices you make. It's tough because you want to do something that's great no matter what other people think about it, but at the same time you do it because you hope you attract an audience. You don't necessarily want to go for an audience and say, okay, I want all the 15-year-old boys to like this. But if you just do it and you can't resonate with anybody, it's sort of like, you know, why bother? So I feel really good that people do enjoy it, but at the same time, you know, you want to know that even if everybody had hated it, that you did something that you can be proud of. And for me, like I said, for my two boys, that they could be proud of one day. And I think they will be when they can finally, they're a little young to actually read it on their own, but they dig the pictures. So I told the artist I'm working with, George Ginty, your art's great, the kids love it. So I don't know if the dialogue is holding up its end.
Do you have anything in the works for adapting it to film?
Well, you know, because I've done a lot of movies, the semi-easy thing is going to be selling it to Hollywood. I mean, I think, and I don't want to overstate because it's always difficult, but I think that we can go and we can set it up at a studio, which is nice. The hardest thing in the world is getting a movie made, and everything changes. You know, as we sit here and talk now, my Super Ex-Girlfriend just opened, and it's tanking. So everyone in Hollywood is going to look at everything they do through what happens with, say, My Super Ex-Girlfriend or Superman or Pirates of the Caribbean. You used to not be able to make pirate movies. Nobody wanted to see them. Well, now one of the biggest movies ever is a pirate movie and a pirate franchise. So everybody's going to have something that's set on the high seas. So I would love to see it made. There's something great about having it in a comic book form. There's something very pure about that. There's also something great about being able to make it a little bit more real and put real people into it and effects and make it a big movie. But I know just from experience, selling it to Hollywood, I think we can do that. That's terrific. We'll make a little money and maybe be able to do more comic books because of it. But getting it made into a movie, you know, if it happens, it's one of those, it's like a miracle. Jesus walking on water and a movie getting made are almost equal. For most people they are, but you know, it's that tough.
I got you. But the water to wine thing is always...
Water to wine is such a fantastic trick that it's always going to be one of the great miracles, because it's also practical. Walking on water, not necessarily that practical unless you have a boat that's sort of stuck on a sandbar, but you can always, you know, listen, if I could turn some water into wine right now, I think I would have like all the friends in the world at the Comic-Con. They would all be happy with me.
Are you ghostwriting anything?
You know what? I'm not ghostwriting anything. There's sort of an ego problem with that. I've been approached sometimes, people say, hey, it'd be great if you could do this or write under an assumed name. I actually have a science fiction series, and because the two lead characters are female and because there's a really pretty growing market in sort of, for young adult female books, they thought it might be a little bit better if I had like a woman's name, and part of you goes, well, it's kind of cool, and then part of your ego goes, what if it's really good and it really takes off, and this is like the one thing that people remember me for, and it's not my name. So I've tried to avoid that, and I hate to sound sort of petty, but I think being who I am, if something's gonna hit or people are gonna like it, I kind of like having my own name associated with it.
Gotcha. What was it like to have something you wrote just blow up and be huge and get made by these giant people, Oliver Stone, like?
It was pretty. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's almost so cool that it's beyond concept. It's almost like winning the lotto, And in some ways, it really is. I'm not saying that to be self-effacing. To have somebody like Oliver Stone make your first book into a movie, and have like Sean Penn and Jennifer Lopez and Claire Danes and people like that in the film it's pretty amazing. And to have it done 3 or 4 times, to do Three Kings and Undercover Brother, and to see little ideas. Undercover Brother, it started out as this little internet thing, and when my friend who was running a website at the time asked me, he said, do you have an idea that you could use? I literally, and this is going back a ways, I'd written it originally on discs, on computer discs, and I'd thrown the disc out because I figured, nobody's ever going to want this stuff. And the day he called, I literally had to dig into the garbage and pull the discs out so I could download the scripts that I have. So I know it sounds like this weird, fantastic Hollywood story, but it's the truth. So to have these things done, it's gratifying, it's satisfying, but I think I'm still young enough, I want to do it again. And that's why, you ask about the American way. Can you make the American way into a movie? I want to do it. I think it would be a lot of fun, but you just, it's like Sisyphus. It's like pushing that rock up the hill, and the direction you have to take. It's been a fantastic ride, but it's like being in Vegas. You just want to put your money back on the table one more time and hope you can collect something.
Thank you so much for being with us. Let's go brace ourselves and go hit the floor.
I need a bracer. I need some water and wine, but thanks, Nancy. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.